We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Missile tests, growing trade deficits, oil prices rise, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lupkin, and here's the news you need to know. With conversations going on about the ability of Joe Biden, Dianne Feinstein, Mitch McConnell, and John Fetterman to do their jobs, the Capitol physician said Tuesday that there is no evidence Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell suffered a stroke or seizure when he froze mid-sentence in two recent press conferences. McConnell, 81, received medical clearance to return to work. McConnell's office released a letter from attending physician Brian Monahan in response to questions about his health, which has declined since he suffered a concussion in a March fall. McConnell told colleagues a concussion can take its toll, and he was still recovering. Senator Dick Durbin, the Democrat from Illinois, said as lawmakers returned from August break and focused on averting a government shutdown, I told him, I said I was glad to see him back and couldn't wait to disagree with him again. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan warned Tuesday that North Korea will pay a price if it provides weapons Russia is requesting for its war in Ukraine. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un reportedly plans to make a rare trip to Russia this month to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin and discuss supplying weapons such as artillery shells and anti-tank missiles for Russian forces. The Kremlin said Tuesday it had nothing to say about the U.S. reports on a planned high-level meeting between North Korea and Russia on military supplies. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Ukraine on Wednesday in a show of support for Kiev. Congress is preparing for debates over future Ukraine aid. Cuba announced this week that it had disrupted a human trafficking ring operated from Russia that recruited Cubans to fight alongside Russian forces in Ukraine. The announcement followed a recent report by Miami media about Cubans joining Russian soldiers in Ukraine. The Miami affiliate of Spanish-language Telemundo network interviewed two Cubans who said they were lured to Russia with phony promises of construction jobs, $2,200, and a Russian passport. We don't know what to do anymore, one of them told Telemundo after allegedly being told he was being sent to Ukraine. Attempts of this nature have been neutralized and criminal proceedings have been initiated against those involved, Cuba's foreign ministry said. Russia did not immediately comment. Saudi Arabia and Russia announced Tuesday they had agreed to extend voluntary oil production cuts through the end of the year to boost prices. The news sent the price of benchmark Brent crude rising above $90 per barrel for the first time since November, although prices slipped early Wednesday. The deal will reduce the global supply by 1.3 million barrels per day, with Russia alone cutting 300,000 barrels. The decision could drive up prices at the gas pump and increase inflation. It also could hurt Saudi Arabia's relationship with the U.S. President Biden warned in 2022 Riyadh would face consequences if it teamed up with Moscow on cuts after Russia's invasion of Ukraine disrupted energy markets. The U.S. monthly international trade deficit increased in July 2023, according to the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis and the U.S. Census Bureau. The deficit increased from $63.7 billion in June to $65 billion in July, as imports increased more than exports. The goods deficit increased $2 billion in July to $90 billion. The services surplus increased $0.7 billion in June to $25 billion. The U.S. Air Force and Space Force collaborated on a test missile launch Wednesday amid rising tensions with North Korea. Air Force Global Strike Command test launched an unnamed Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile from the Vandenberg Space Force Base. The purpose of the ICBM test launch program is to validate and verify the safety, security, effectiveness, and readiness of the weapon system, a statement from Vandenberg Space Force Base read. The airmen and guardians who perform this vital mission are some of the most skillfully trained and dedicated personnel in America's Air Force, said Space Launch Delta 30 Vice Commander Colonel Brian Titus. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.